Got it.
Hey,
Virtual party.
okay. That's the jingle bell.
Let me go on Facebook and share it.
Jingle bells chime. It's the right time to rock the night away. It's the bell time, it's a bell time. One horse left.
Look, when I don't know the words.
Bells.
Hello.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Uh,
Good evening, ladies, and we are so excited. Welcome to Crown Check 1212, the holiday edition. I'm Shanetta Malkia. I'm the founding president and executive director for Empowerment Essence, and I am joined tonight by two of my fellow sister queens that have a word for you. Queen Alani Grant. Good evening, my fellow queen. Happy holiday.
Oh, happy holidays, everybody.
Yes. And then my fellow queen, Montrella. And see, I asked her earlier, I was like, Montrella, because I don't want to mess up. She said, no. I said, is it Cohen? And what'd you tell me, Montrella?
Cowan.
Cowan. So she gave me the history about her last name. Montrella Cowan is with us tonight, and I'm so excited. She has a survival kit. We have some things that are coming in place because it's the holiday season. And I recognize that the holidays are just not the holidays for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so we need some help sometimes to work it through. And especially for me, I think overcoming depression. And if you could do us a favor, everybody that's joining us, if you could just mute your lines for us. I don't want to mute everybody. I just want to make sure that you can hear the word that's going to go forth this evening. And we just want to make sure that you had some survival tips for the holidays, because outside of dealing with the regular stresses of life, we're dealing with COVID-19 right now, you know?
Oh yeah.
And that made it real difficult for a lot of families this year, totally, outside of dealing with regular grief, regular loss. For individuals that have lost a loved one to suicide, you know, the winter time and the holiday times when you're thinking about loved ones and you're considering the things that you used to do and the things that you want to do and who you want to see, it's rather rough, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's okay. It's okay to not be okay, but we want to make sure that you're not okay alone. And we want to make sure that you have some tips to have a healthy holiday. So welcome to Crown Check 1212. Lonnie, Montrella, how have your day? How's your baby?
Ah, bless, sister. And this is the cherry on top right here. Thank you for, inviting us and for, welcoming, the community, because we need it right now. And so I really do appreciate you.
And so, Montrella, tell the community a little bit about yourself. You are a licensed therapist, and first of all, you're a Black licensed therapist.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a young lady today, and she said that, finding a Black female therapist is
Yeah.
not easy.
It's
And so being able to find somebody that you can connect to,
yes.
not always the easiest. So thank you for your service. Thank you for joining us tonight. I know that the audience tonight is going to be blessed with just, I'm excited about this holiday survival kit. I'm crazy amped up about it. And then, so just so you all know, tonight we do have some prizes. We have some giveaways. Thank you for joining us. So both Montrella and Lonnie and myself, we will give you a brief presentation tonight on how we're dealing with the holidays and how to overcome depression in the holidays and just a holiday survival tip. And so in the midst of us actually giving our presentation to you, we will be dropping 3 words. Okay. And at the end of this session tonight, we're not going to keep you long. We know you're home with your families. But at the end of the session, we're going to ask you to drop the answers in the chat for us. And just remember those 3 words, that's all. And we're going to, you do have to have all 3 words right. We are looking for the first person to put the 3 words in the chat. And we look forward to sharing with you tonight some healthy tips. So Lonnie, Queen, talk to me, Queen. How's your day been? I know you've been moving. You said you've been zooming and zooming and zooming.
I've been zooming and running errands, but today has been marvelous. I can't complain. I'm still here. I'm healthy. So I'm just excited to be able to give some tips about this holiday and how to maneuver during this pandemic.
How have you maneuvered in this pandemic?
So for me, I'm doing more prayer. So I'm in a few circles. I think for me is not making sure that I'm not alone and making sure that I'm in groups that's going to help me, because I don't have my mom. Like 2 people who were like most important to me, they're not here, and they both passed away during the holiday season a few years ago. So I find myself where, again, if it wasn't for these sister circle groups that I'm a part of to keep me going, keep in prayer, because again, somebody can tell you just to pray, but if you don't have a support circle, you find where it can get, oh, I already done that and I don't want to do it no more. But when you have people that will hold you accountable,
it's a different ballgame.
Okay, it's different. And then you, like you said, you don't have to do it alone.
No.
Don't do it alone. So that's been helping me in journaling.
Oh, that's good. I want to go back just a little bit. You were just speaking about not doing it alone. How much strength does it take for an individual to ask for help? Were you always able to ask for help?
No, and I think that has to do with my childhood trauma that I endured, where I couldn't ask. Like, I felt like things that took place in the home, that trauma, I was so terrified and scared. Or then when I did tell somebody, they didn't believe me.
Okay.
So you feel as though I just need to keep it to myself. It's just too much. I don't want to burden somebody else. So we make these stories and keep making the stories, and then we try to live with all of this stuff by ourselves. And that stuff, consumes you, and that's when anxiety, depression, and all of these things, you become so overwhelmed versus just talking to somebody. But again, it does take a while to start trusting people again. But I tell people, you have to speak what you want to see different. If you keep saying, oh, I don't trust nobody, see, that's why I don't do it. All you're doing is consuming your body with negativity.
Come on.
You'll never meet people that's trusting if that's all you keep saying. You have to change the story.
That's
Changing the story.
Changing the story. Montrella, I'm going to turn over to you real quick. Hearing about that, asking for help.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one, particularly as a Black woman. Why? Because society makes this assumption about us that we're so strong, right? And that we are supposed to put up with a whole bunch of crap. And then if we don't, what is it? Angry Black woman. So a lot of us are in fear of that. So we actually hold a lot in, and we put on the front.
That's good.
How are you? Fine. When really it's a storm going on internally.
What kind of storms do people go through, Montrella, that they hide? I want to talk tonight, ladies. I want to get
yeah.
asking for help is tough, but Well, we're gonna go deep. I just want to know, Martrella, like you're talking to clients, and I can imagine. I'm gonna share some of the things that I've covered up. But what are some of the things that women have learned to cover up outside of domestic violence? That was me.
Outside of domestic violence.
Outside
Well,
of abuse, sexual abuse, that was me. What are some everyday life things that may not happen to everybody, but happen to a lot of women that we just cover up and don't raise our hand and say, I need help?
Well, I think Lonnie hit on a perfect one, and it does tie right into the two you named, which is that trauma. Now, trauma can look, it can come, we might normalize trauma. Like if you grew up in a violent neighborhood, for example, you might think trauma is actually normal, and it's not. So a lot of the things we just learn how to cope based on what other family members did and things like that. But oh my goodness, it could be something at work where, I often hear, maybe a white colleague has, earning 20,000 more. So with
That
less,
can bother somebody? Wait a minute. So some stuff can happen at the job that can trigger somebody.
oh, indeed.
Oh, so they're not by
They have to
themselves.
deal with that every day, and they may have less credentials than you, and you're working twice as hard and getting paid less. Oh, that's very traumatizing.
Okay.
Check the check.
So when people are actually at work and they're stressing and they have these migraine headaches and they go home and they're drained and they can't even function and perform it the way that they're supposed to in their job, it could literally be because of the trauma and the stress in work that's causing it.
Oh, absolutely. And we bring it home for sure. Yeah.
How does that play into coming home and asking for help? Do we set the tone amongst our households that we as Black women can go to the table and have a family dinner and talk about the things that we're facing?
Well, in some cases, some of us sisters have been doing the work and on our healing journey. And so, yeah, in some cases, I would say absolutely. I don't want to discredit, my sisters who are really conscious and trying and reaching out. Oftentimes, many women reach out more than men. It's our sisters who bring the men in, which is a blessing as well. But then, yes, we sometimes we're so unconscious of it, we don't realize we're carrying that stress from work. So we come home yelling, unfortunately.
I'll be yelling. I'm not talking
Oh, I was a big yeller for a long time. Thank you, God, for relieving me from that one. But yeah, we do that, right? Absolutely. And also just this distance learning right now, it's hard. Like a lot of parents having to juggle work, and now I'm trying to revisit algebra or writing, composition, and things like that. I've been actually working with a lot of families just to help manage that anxiety because the kids are anxious.
Yeah.
It's not the same as being in a classroom where you can get help from your teacher. Now it's like PowerPoints and this stuff is looking like college, but it's for second graders.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Lonnie, how have you moved past it? How have you been able to start asking for help in that comfortable circle?
I think for me is when I started healing and I hired a life coach, and then I started to connect why I wasn't asking for help. I think some people they know that it's trauma, but we don't always know what the connected to of why we're not asking.
Come on.
So I think once I made the connection and was aware, I started to ask. Now I do find myself sometimes where I'll get triggered and it'll come back up where it's like, okay, Lonnie, just ask. Because I'll go back into little Lonnie that say, see, that's why you shouldn't even ask anyway. Don't do that. And a lot of us who have gone through trauma will go back to that. So it's a choice, it's a decision to say, do I go back into this mode like I'm 7, or do I boss up? Do I ask for the help? Seek down and say, you know what, you're okay, you're safe now. You're no one is doing anything to you, because sometimes it could be you feel like you're unsafe. Because again, those things going back in your head when you wasn't safe. So you gotta force yourself to say, I'm safe here. This is a safe place. No one is going to harm me. I can ask them for help. I need help. you know, because for a long time I wouldn't do group things like group coaching. I would get intimidated, but I wouldn't ask for help. I wouldn't say, well, you know what? I actually need help. You know, I know you gave us this lesson, but I wouldn't, because I would literally go back to when I was about 6.
Wow.
How does that play in and come into like our life today as adults? So we're talking a little about asking for help. We're talking a little bit about trauma. We're tapping into, Lana, you were just speaking about going back into that childhood age, that 6 or 7-year-old, because even as adults, something will happen. And I've heard myself, my voice in my head, and it sounds like that little me. But it's, think about some of the things, and I don't know if anybody else has gone through this, but sometimes at the holidays right now, for some families that don't have a tree to put up. And I put up the tree. This is my first year in about 3 years,
Wow.
and I've been able to put up a tree.
Wow. Well, good for you.
When I tell you
Mm.
this year is a turnaround, and I just want, and I'm going to speak last. I'm letting Lonnie and Montrella speak first. I just wanted us to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're working through during this season. But when I tell you that God has done well, is it a 180 or 360?
180.
180, he did a 180. He flipped that thing for me. God showed off and he flipped that thing. I'm just so thankful. So I'm just really here to share hope and to tell you that it is very much possible. Just in 2017, I had lost my job. I was managing an apartment complex, and I had lost my job right before the holidays. And it always seemed like that happened. I don't know about nobody else, but for me, whenever I lost a job, it was always around the holidays.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't understand it. Like, do they know when they get ready to fire you? I don't understand. But it was around the holidays. And then, I lost relationships that I thought would always be there. And I thought that they would always have my back. And I lost that. And then I was in an abusive relationship. And then, I was going through that. And then I lost a child and during that time. So I'm thinking about all these different pressures that were on me and I was going through at the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And then to find the next year, just going through more dramatic and not knowing how I was still going to, because I was working, but I was working for somebody else that couldn't pay me full time, just regular basic stuff like not knowing how I was going to pay my rent. Yeah. I was riding around the S550 and my car note was a blessing. It was cheap, but I ain't had no damn job no more to make the money I was making at first trying to manage. So I was excited and no, it was not pretty. And that was just a couple of years ago. After going through so much other stuff. So as an adult, I was shameful. I was embarrassed. Yes. I felt broken again. I felt abandoned again. Yes. I felt that I couldn't turn to other people again. My mother didn't find out and my family didn't find out till almost at the end of, my domestic violence, incidents, what was going on. And that was last year my dad came to see me. Before he passed away in 2019, just a year ago. So when I tell you that in the midst of trauma and pain, things are birthed that are new. My company was birthed out of me losing my job. I've done a lot of healing. I've been revived. I've moved. I pay bills off, y'all. I ain't broke no more. Lonnie, we was laughing and talking about when we went to LA. And that was a rough time, So I just thank God that we're able to, he turns things around for us if we hold on. And it felt so freaking uncomfortable. It was horrible. Yes. It was embarrassing. I had no Christmas tree. Christmas tree, what? I was going to stay in the house and stay in the bed, but my uncle cooked and I'm greedy. So I went away.
That's a powerful one.
You can't even do that right now because of COVID. And I also think about the time growing up as a child where my mom did the best she could, but there was time when she couldn't put stuff on the tree. I remember she showed me the true meaning of Christmas when she had the boxes that said peace, love, joy, happiness. I remember us going to the movies, to the $1.50 movie in Riverdale Town, right down Riverdale.
Riverdale.
I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying? The $1.50 movie, that was our Christmas one year. How does that affect a person growing up? Do you think that it is possible, Montrella, Lonnie, please help me. And then I'm gonna turn it over to you, Lonnie, to go ahead and open us up for tonight. Do you think it's possible the trauma that some individuals experience as a child around the holidays?
Right.
Whether it was being able to provide for their family, not having, whether it was abuse because the mother, father couldn't provide, maybe it was that regular traumatic household that they think is their normal now. Does that trigger and play into one's adult life and how they deal with their children, what they do with their children, how they deal with the holidays, if they deal with the holidays at all?
Yes, yes. In other words, the holidays can be a stain, not so joyous as portrayed on television and other media for some people. And you touched on a lot there. One of the things that we're experiencing is grief.
Hmm.
A lot of us are experiencing grief because of some of the incidents that you talked about, like if things happened around the holidays, but also even with COVID and just not, being isolated. Some of us can't see our loved ones, and things like that. This is all triggering. It's a triggering environment. In addition to that, you have the environmental factor. It's getting darker earlier. It's cold. And for melanin, we need that sun, but we haven't even been getting it because of COVID. We're lacking in vitamin D. And so we must keep in mind SAD, which stands for, seasonal affective disorder, also known as seasonal depression. Oh, it's real.
Okay.
And so, yes, on top of all of that, we're grieving and we have the sad thing going on. And so we do have to really pay attention, right? If we have lacking motivation right now, we might have reports due at work and we're not feeling like doing them.
I know that's right.
We might be suffering from insomnia, can't sleep. I see a lot of clients struggling with that. So there's many things.
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
And give that to me one more time. SAD.
SAD, seasonal affective disorder, AKA seasonal depression.
Seasonal depression. SAD.
Yes. So yeah,
Really?
This is that time.
Would that be considered a disorder that somebody that literally
Yes.
could be going through?
Yes.
And they may not even know that they have that disorder?
That's right. That's right. They may just feel like not themselves and not even realize it. And so that's why I mentioned it. And a lot of it is just education. I know, especially in the, communities of color, there's a lot of stigma related to seeking, mental health. But for me, the key word is health.
Come on.
And as a licensed therapist, we think this is one of the most proactive things you can do is reach out. A lot of times we like to go to family, friends, and that's why they call that. Family and friends, they are our enablers, y'all. So they give advice from their own fears and from their own experiences. It's not objective. That's why they get on your nerves because they're not helping you because they're not listening. You ain't asked them for their advice. I know how it goes.
Yes.
And they mean well, but the objective perspective is really, I've seen it recreate people. Yeah.
That's good. Lonnie, take us.
Yeah. Oh.
That's what we.
Yeah. It just resonates so much because I just remember my grandmother, she raised me. So it used to be about 8 of us. She trying to, submit to these different programs to get us, some Christmas stuff.
Yes.
And I remember the struggle putting our names and we having to get up early in the morning because a lot of times with these different programs, they mean well. But guess what? Sometimes they'll hit you at last minute and say, hey, you got to pick up your ham and your turkey and their coats from this time to this time.
That's right.
And my grandmother didn't drive. So we had to get on the bus and we barely made it and get off and so it was a lot. It was a lot, so what I see now, when the holidays come up, and I'll hear different organizations or people going to get stuff and they're like, girl, I got to go over here and get this stuff. It just triggers me because I remember being that kid.
Sure. Yeah.
Not being able to really get all the things that you want. We wanted more than a coat, but we had to be grateful for the coat.
Hey, and that coat was important.
That was it.
Yeah.
We was happy to get a bike. But then when we would watch our other cousins who wasn't raised in the projects with us, and they're getting all the nice things, and they're getting all of this stuff, and we're like, we want that PlayStation, we want that Nintendo, but we couldn't,
Yeah.
so those type of things leave, an effect on adults too, because when they went through that, sometimes I know for me, for a long time, I used to say, I just don't celebrate Christmas. And I really had to go back and say, why? Why wouldn't I put up a tree? This is my first time ever putting up a tree, y'all, since I was an adult.
Wow.
I'm
Congratulations.
38 years old.
Yes, we putting up
Look,
trees.
I'm
Like,
sure that for you.
like, because I really had to dig deep and say why. And the trauma behind that was my grandmother couldn't have. So I always just told myself to say, no, I don't want nobody to give me gifts. I don't want to do that because we never had it.
I see. Look at that.
So you see how, again, as an adult,
Yes.
somebody may look at me telling me, well, Lonnie, okay, I understand why you're not really in the holiday, and they may judge me for, so you don't buy your kids gifts and you don't. It's easy to judge,
Yes.
but we don't know why and why it triggers.
Yes.
Because holidays was more family. It wasn't really about the gifts. I just knew my grandmother was gonna cook.
Yes.
You was gonna
We was gonna eat. So that's why I've always been good with just going to somebody's house and eating.
I see.
I used to say, please don't buy me nothing. I just want to eat.
Yeah.
But that came from the trauma. Isn't that something?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, trauma will make you believe things that are not true.
Come
So
on.
it's kind of like you were operating out of the lack. So today, currently,
That's the word.
That's not the situation. And you hit on another piece, that materialistic piece sometimes, though. Some of us do it a little over the top.
I was gonna say it's
I'm from Brooklyn. I got some cousins with some $300 socks.
And they don't even be cute.
I'm telling you, but for IG purposes, right? But seriously, and that's why we also have Kwanzaa, which is another way to celebrate. My son, he was born on Kujichagulia.
Yeah.
So his birthday we'll be celebrating on Sunday, but Kujichagulia is self-determination. And I love that because Lonnie, for me, that's that muscle we need to build so that we can start to recreate, not from the trauma, but recreate our own experiences because we are blessed to have life, and it's a way to carry that torch and legacy if we're able to, because, our parents and their parents, they just wanted better, more options, right? And so it's, when you can get present, which is hard when you're going through it though, but when you can get present.
And I think not to be prideful, I think sometimes the trauma from growing up, when we do find ourselves in a situation where we do need the pride, because we're like, remember, I told myself I would never be like my mother. I would never be broke. I would never be like. So what happens is when the organizations do reach out, you don't want to take it. You don't want to take it because guess what? I had a few. I was able to get my food. I'm not too. Hey, I need that gift card. Thank you, because the food stamps didn't come through.
Okay.
But you got to be in a good space to say it's not forever. You need right now.
Amen. I like it.
You need it right. And nowadays, because of the pandemic, so many people are needing and they work because people are really in a bind now. It's food is costing so much. So even if you do have regular income coming in, extra, loaf of bread, a dozen of eggs. Come on,
listen, it's some big families. I know, where I live, every weekend, and I mean the lines, they come into my complex.
Oh, wow.
And they stretch. And then they go up the street and they go down the street. And so it's really shut off about 4 hours. And I saw tonight that they opened it up again. I said, oh, okay, well, Christmas Eve is, the day tomorrow. So they're feeding everybody again. But I'm looking at the number of persons that don't have.
Yeah.
So Lonnie, I would love for you to open up and give us your word tonight. We all have our special word for our audience tonight. And I'm just excited where we're going to go in regard to healing. I know you have some healing techniques that come from dance and stretching. And so Lonnie has a special treat for us. She has a word for us. She has a special treat for us.
Yes, yes, yes.
Lonnie, the
With
floor
my
is
auntie Yaya said, yes, beloved.
yeah.
I do.
Yes, darling. I am
Yes,
going to go ahead and highlight you, Lonnie, and that will let you take this over because you got this.
yes, yes. So thank you everybody for attending on tonight. This is a blessing. I'm glad you were able to come on and join us. So tonight, my word is kuumba. It is kuumba. So kuumba is all about being creative. You guys, those who may know me or may not know me, I am a CEO of a dance program. I specialize in acrobatic dance. And so often people always say, what made you pick that? How did you get into acrobatic? What is that? So I always tell people when I was little, we loved to flip. All the kids in the neighborhood, we would go in a playground and we would flip, 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 right? But then we would dance. That was the way we expressed ourselves. So if you combine the flipping with the dancing, there's a name for it, acrobatics. There it is. And it was hard. And growing up, in the projects where I grew up it was hard too, you guys. It was really, really hard. So God gave me this vision and here I am. So that's the story behind my Kumba and my creativity. So you guys, I want to read to you. Am I to read okay. So creativity, to do always as much as we can in a way that we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. So you guys on tonight, my word is kuumba. And with that, you guys, I want you to think about how can you add to your community, right? You may think, well, Lonnie, I don't even have a dream or a purpose, or I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I need you to get clear. I need you to start praying, and I need you to dig deep on your healing so that you can manifest the vision that you supposed to, because we all have come here with a special gift, that we're all creative beings. But because as you enter the world, so many people have put a lot of labels on you. So you kind of forgot. You lost yourself a little ways. You start to be covered up with so many words and so many sayings that you might have lost who you were. So I'm challenging you to go back to that scripture of Jeremiah 29:11. Though I have the plans for you, said the Lord, okay, to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you hope. So if he said it in his word that his plans was to prosper you, guess what? You're creative all by yourself, but you got lost in a way. You forgot who you were. So I need you to tap into who you were, who you are, because that's the thing. You forgot who you are, so you need to tap into, okay, hey, I know I have this creative gift. I know it's inside of me. The world needs to see who I am. You can't keep saying, well, my mother wasn't there, my father wasn't there, this person did this to me. No. Are you going to leave the world in trauma? Or are you going to find your gift and say, hey, let me forgive that person so I can live in my creativity and be what God called me to be? And that's what you have to realize. What do you need to do to get that creative juice back? Who do you need to forgive? Who do you need to be? Who do you need to be free out of your life? Who do you need to speak and say, you know what? You have had a stronghold over me. I've been carrying this. and I need to release you because I cannot leave the world more beautiful than I left before I came in this world if I'm filled with trauma because I won't release. It is time for you to release. Find you a therapist, find you either a life coach, somebody that can gear you and steer you on the right path. Maybe it's your pastor. Or maybe you're saying, well, Lonnie, I don't believe, I don't know. God might have left me. I'm here to tell you he has not. All the stuff you went through it was creating your strength that you're going to need for those gifts. Because guess what? Those gifts are amazing, but it come with a lot. When you have gifts, you be like, okay, why you choose me to bake this cake, God? Okay, you choose me to do culinary. You want me to cook? I don't know if I can cook. Okay, but you chose me to crochet, or you chose me to make items and be an event decorator, or whatever the case may be. Ask God not only to show you your gift, but also prepare you. Get the right people that's in alignment, get a team so that you can leave the world more beautiful. Okay? So that is my word to you today. Is kuumba. Kuumba. Thank you, my brave, amazing people, them beautiful souls. My beloveds, my auntie Yaya was my beloved.
Amen. Amen. That is the word. Lonnie, what's your word again today?
Kuumba.
Yeah.
And you gotta say it like that, you guys. You can't say kumba, kumba, because I didn't heard it all. I'm like, you gotta make sure it hit the core. When your hand go across your chest, kuumba. You gotta feel it because it comes from our DNA. And we not celebrating it enough. Kuumba. So I want you to say it with some power.
But Lonnie, if you was doing a dance move, how would that look? Like kaboom. How would that look?
Kuumba. Kuumba. Yes. You
Yeah.
gotta feel it.
Boomba.
Yes. Or just for those of you who can't do all of that, you take your fist. Kuumba. Yes.
Yes.
And you grab that wrist. Because you need both hands to fight.
Come on. That's a word. Amen. Thank you so much, Queen Montrella.
Yeah.
It's on you, Queen.
Right. Amen. Well, thank you, sister. I think somebody wants you to spell Kaumba, and Sarah said, thank you so much.
Oh,
so
you're
really
welcome.
Folks.
Kuuba. Kuumba. So Kuumba has 2 U's in it.
Yep. So my word of the day is self-determination. Again, my son was born on this one, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that is not a coincidence. You know, when I ended up having to get out the relationship with his dad, I literally was running for my life and had to reawaken that spirit that Lonnie was talking about within myself. Kujichagulia is self-determination. And basically it reaffirms the right of persons and people to determine their own destiny and daily lives, to live in peace and security, and to flourish in freedom everywhere. And that's by Dr. Malana Karenga, who created Kwanzaa. That is so real for me. I was born in the projects of Brooklyn, New York. My mother, my birth mother, had a crack addiction for over 30 years. So I'm not even supposed to be here, let alone helping other people and fulfilling that purpose that Lonnie was talking about. I talked about grief earlier. Let me just tell you something, you know, because life will throw some stuff at us. In 2018, I lost my mom. She was clean by then. She had witnessed me walking across the stage from Howard when I graduated in 2010. But in 2018, she died. Well, 4 months later, my daughter died. 25 years old, from lupus. She was diagnosed less than a year before that. So 2018, oh my God, I had a lot of questions for God. So I bring that up to let you know, because I know some of us have lost loved ones. And like I said, this is a very triggering time with all the losses, right? And just witnessing it, even if you don't know someone directly, it will trigger any loss that you've had. I've seen people come into my office who have been grieving for decades because they simply did not know. So there are 5 stages of grief I want to go over really quickly. One, the first one being denial, isolation. And by the way, grief and loss, we don't just experience it when someone dies. You can experience it in a breakup. You can experience it with a job change. Even if you're getting your dream home, you're going to grieve that other home because there are memories there. So that's denial and isolation. The second one, y'all, is anger. We have permission to be angry when we experience loss. That could be angry with ourselves. That could be angry with the person that we lost. That could be angry with God. The third is bargaining. And this is when you find yourself asking a whole lot of questions. God, why me? You know, why this? Why her? Etc. It can also be if then. So if perhaps I had visited her more, then etc. etc. So if you find yourself having those types of conversations, you're in the bargaining stage. The fourth stage is depression. This could look different for different people. Staying in the bed, crying spells, crying for no reason. A loss of activity or motivation. Finally, we get to acceptance. This can be hard, y'all, because you can be in acceptance stage. And because of this season right now, fall back into one of the previous stages. So really just pay attention to yourself, know what your baseline is. And like Shanetta said, I have a survival kit. So I want to go over a few things with you. You know, when you hanging out with Shanetta, you got to come correct, okay? So the first thing in my survival kit.
Y'all don't understand. This thing is hot.
The first thing in our survival kit, for me, and this is just a representation, is some little hair oil. Y'all know in the winter we get a little dry, but this is representing self-care, y'all. It's representing self-care. You know, massaging your own head can feel so good. Well, if you got a partner, honey, work it. The next thing, and I'm old school, I tell my clients all the time, bring pen and paper. And they be like, I could just put it in my phone. Bring pen and paper. Why? Writing causes thinking. What is Coochie Chocolate is? Self-determination. We get to be the writers of our own script, the director of our own movie. So I write things that I'm grateful for every single day. You know, you can write out thoughts. If you're going through some stuff, just write it out. Get it out of here. This is busy enough, and it will provide so much relief. The next thing, y'all, is the mask. And I am not being facetious. I know we required to wear these things, but guess what? Some of us have a hard time reconnecting with family. Oh, I know about it. Look, limit, put your mask on, give them an hour. You ain't got to give them the whole day. You don't have to dispense your energy with any negativity if that's the case. So you can wear your mask. And then you can just send a little note to someone. I just got this in the mail today with my name on it, and I just was so touched. So just being grateful for things can just really put you in a present moment, which is really, really helpful because the trauma and stuff keeps us in the past. So when you can just write a little note of thanks or appreciation, send someone a card, not only do you uplift their spirits, but it'll help you to kind of deal and cope with what's going on right now. And my last one, but certainly my favorite, y'all, is reading. Now, this is my book, The Purse, An Essential Guide to Healthy Relationships, but I give up the goods. And I read a lot. I read every day. It's so important. It's just so important. And guess what? I love this as a representation because not only do you read, you can read, guess what? Write your book. I got published in May during COVID. So I know some people say this is the worst year of their lives, but I'm a real curious person because I've been through too much. God kept me for a reason. So I look for opportunities. And this is just an example. So sisters, put it down. Let go of the perfection. If you got a book in you, we all do. Put it down, or poems, or whatever it is. And I'll stop right there because I could keep going. You're on mute.
I thank you. And I do want you to go further. Because we're talking about the survival kit, and I want you to close with how individuals can start reaching out for help if they didn't even know they needed help. And
Yes.
you could if you could please give everyone your contact information, because I know someone is looking for a therapist. I know someone is looking to connect with you. I know someone needs somebody that they can relate to and start their healing journey. How do they start this healing journey, Martrella?
Sure, sure. And thank you. And again, thank you for this platform, sisters. If you hear brothers, if there's some brothers out there, I'm for the yin and yang. It's not by coincidence, I promise you. So we pray, and then God send that first boat, that second boat, and that third boat, and we would just be like, still waiting. So just know that this is not a coincidence. You can reach out. You can reach me on my website, affinity411.com. So that's AFFINITY 411.com. Listen, no excuses. God just works things out. Don't worry about money. There's a big myth that therapy is so expensive. I can assure you right now, first of all, some of the insurance companies, I do accept insurance, they are waiving copays, but those copays are cheaper in a week than your Starbucks tab. Come on now. I know we got money for what we want. So just reach out. And if, I can't help you or my staff, we will refer you. I'm a social worker, so that's my job anyway. So you get to put me to work anyway. But there's also something called EAP I want to talk about briefly. That's Employee Assistance Program. If you are working or anyone in your household, you can use this. So if you're working and you have a mother who's struggling, she can use your EAP. It usually provides either between 2 and 10 sessions, free, totally free, and it's based per issue. So if you have 2 issues, you can use it the one time, and then you can use it for the second time, totally free to you. So the resources are here. We're here. Sisters like me are here. I'm here. I consider this my ministry. Lonnie talked about Kaumba, your talents, your gifts. I consider this my ministry, and I'm here to serve.
Amen. Thank you so much, Queen. I greatly appreciate you. It is always a blessing to come together with my queens. And so my word tonight, everyone, and I'm really excited to share this with you, is Nia. Nia. Purpose. And if you have been following us, you know that we're heading to Jamaica. On January 3rd, we will be live for Crown Check 1212, Pity Party to Purpose. And the reason that I felt that it was necessary to do Pity Party to Purpose, the Holy Spirit put that on my heart. And I was thinking about all of the pity parties we've been going through. And I was thinking about all of the trauma that I had been through in my life. And I was thinking about all of the things that God brought me through that I thought was it. I was thinking about the life before the suicide attempt when I thought life was over. I was thinking about the times where I wanted to die because I didn't feel like I had the strength to live. And I thought about the pity parties I used to throw for myself. Now, I don't know about none of y'all, but I had the best pity parties. I used to get high as hell. I used to get drunk as hell. I used to party. I used to stay in the streets. I used to do whatever I could do to stay away from reality and dealing with what I had to go through. I used to sleep a lot. When I was depressed, I would cut myself off. I would have to go out and spend a lot of money to try to bring myself back. I used to front. I used to wear a really good mask. And I ain't talk to nobody. I was in a pity party. I mean, I threw a damn good one. Some of the things that we throw pity parties about. It could be relationships. It could be job loss. It could be the loss of friends. It could be loss of family members. It could be loss of self. It could be loss of reality. It could be the loss of thinking that you've lost something that you really haven't lost. You can have a pity party about anything you like to have a pity party about. But the word Nia for Kwanzaa, let me tell you a little bit about Nia. It's a commitment to the collective vocation of building, developing, and defending our community, its culture, and its history in order to regain our historical incentives as a great people. We're great. We're great. And we have purpose. And our traumas and our situations in life sometimes cloud our purpose. Our problems and situations in life make us feel as though we don't have purpose. I know I didn't think I had purpose and I didn't have worth. I didn't think that I mattered. I didn't think that life mattered. I didn't think that my voice mattered. I didn't think that I had anything to offer to life other than my body, other than looks, because that's what people made you feel as though was important. But not me, not genuinely me. So I did not know I had a purpose. And it wasn't until after I attempted to die that I found life and that I found my purpose. And it wasn't the first time that I was lost. I mean, growing up, you start thinking about things. I know one of the things I used to hear a lot was, "You like your dad," and my dad was rather special. Rest in peace, Dad. I love you. See, we had that relationship, and I've forgiven my father, and I understand, and we had that talk. You got to forgive some people. You still mad at some people, and you still having a pity party about things that they couldn't help themselves do. You mad at people that didn't even know how to love. You wanted love from people that couldn't love you. You still having a pity party about it today. It happened like 15 years ago. You still mad about homeboy cheating on you. You still mad. You still mad at the girlfriend that was talking about you behind your back. You still mad, but you still her friend secretly, but you can't stand her for real. You still having a pity party behind closed doors. It's so many things, the things that you wanted, things that you desire, things that you didn't even think that you were worthy of, that you're having a pity party about, that you haven't even opened up your eyes to see that I'm really sitting in dismay and it's not okay and I don't have to stay here. You got purpose. There was purpose in my pain and I didn't even know it. I never thought that I was going to own my own company. I never thought that I would be crowned Miss Maryland. I never thought that I would be crowned again International Miss Maryland. I never thought that I was going to have an extended family after losing my own child. I never thought that I would go through domestic violence and lose everything to have everything given back 10 times fold 2 years later. I never thought that I had purpose. And even when I started recognizing that I had purpose, because I don't want you to get it twisted. See, because you can start realizing that you have purpose and moving in that direction, and you can fall off track. But God said, I just picked you up and put you back where I wanted you at from the beginning because I never left you. You just fell off track. But you still had purpose. I was still redeveloping you. I was still bringing you back to your historical roots, which were in me and not in other people. You always had purpose. And nobody else could see that purpose on many different times and occasions because they said you was out, you was over, you was done. You did it too many times, you failed too many times, you stole too many times, you lied too many times, you sold your body too many times. Oh, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. They said that's it. But God said, while they counted you out, I counted you in because your purpose was never dead. Your spirit was dead and I had to bring you back to give you life. Purpose. So I want you to understand two things. Crown check 1212. You have purpose. Crown check 1212. You're not staying the same going into 2021. Crown check 1212. There is nothing that will stop you. You are unstoppable. And I want you to revive yourself because there's some things that you got to shake off and some people you got to let go because they're always going to be right there where they are. And that's okay. No judgment, no shame. That's just not where you're staying. That's just not where you're designed to go because you have purpose. And some people can't see past their limitations because they haven't tapped into their purpose. So they want to keep you limited because they don't want you to reach your purpose because they don't know about theirs. You got to cut some cords so you can reach your purpose. I'm talking about the beliefs of your family and your friends and your former associates and your ex-man. I'm talking about the guy you still getting cute for online trying, he gonna make sure he see me. That ain't your purpose. You trying to sleep with another woman's man, that ain't your purpose, sis. It's not cute, sis. My fellow kings, your body is a temple just like mine. Why are you giving your precious penis away on a regular basis? That's not your purpose. Why are you selling yourself short? You're selling yourself short because nobody told you that you had purpose. I'm telling you tonight that you got purpose. I'm telling you tonight that the pain was a part of the purpose, but you couldn't see the purpose in the pain because you were still attached to things that was causing more pain. You have purpose. Crown check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now tonight we close and we leave you with a few words, and I'm going to bring Lonnie and Montrella back to the main stage with me, and I thank you for listening and joining us tonight. I am Shanetta Malkia. I am a co-author in the Unstoppable Warrior Woman book. If you have not ordered your copy of the Unstoppable Warrior Woman book, I got some of my fellow sister queens on here. What's up, Katrina? Listen, I'm talking about 40 unstoppable women that have hit rock bottom, that have been tapped out, where they said, you have been deleted. That's what they told some of us, you're deleted. God said, nah, you got purpose. Purpose. So I love you all. And Nia is my word for the evening, because you have purpose.
Mm. Who's getting gifts?
Let's see. I'm looking in this chat right now. So we have dropped all 3 words tonight. You are welcome to drop your answer in the chat. We are open to take questions. We actually did amazing. We are on schedule and on time. Look at gosh, one time. Ladies, you have purpose. And we'll just open up with any questions. If there's anything we could answer for you at all, we thank you for joining.
I do have a question actually for the advice. I've been going through so much hard time to get over my ex, and are just like friends with benefits at the moment. I mean, I've been knowing him like for like 3 years since my college. It's been tough for me. I know that like I wasn't like, like careful with my words, what I had to say to him, because it was by an accident anyways, because in the first place, like I told him that, that I decided to be virgin and this is what I want for hookups or blowjobs. And then I decided to change my mind, that I don't want to be virgin anymore. And of course, he's like, like he's always being there for me, like during my emotional times, like he's like always like emotionally being there for me during my mental health, like he's very aware of my mental health. Like I know that he's not the type of player guy. Like I asked him and he said no. Like honestly, like this is what I wrote, like honestly here, and I just said, I'm sorry when I changed my mind to change my decisions to not becoming virgin anymore. It's my choice that I'm not going to be virgin anymore. Hopefully you can respect my decisions for what I want as friends with benefits decisions too. It's just that I took medicine by an accident and I want to take care of my health really well as well. I love you so much, and hopefully you can respect my decisions. I'm very excited to meet up with you, to spend time for us together whenever we can. Thank you so much for being always here for me, babe. You're always mine. And I'm just focusing on myself, to focus on my job, my fam, and my friends. That's all. Like honestly, like I was just like really like having a struggle. Like I was like, like feeling a lot anxious, like, like how he's gonna think. I know that like he's calm, like he's like sensitive too at the same time. Like I don't know how he'll like react to it or whatever. Like, like he's not the type of guy like to block me or whatever, because I already do know his mutual friends. Like I asked him some questions, of course, like what I wanted to ask. And I just asked him about like, like are we going to back together or not? And he said like we'll see about that and stuff like that. I know it's just tough for me. Like I still do have feelings for and I still do have feelings for him. Like I knew that like he was like complimenting on my body image, that like my chest are like so gorgeous, and like he knows that I'm so beautiful. Like he's like always being there for me. Like I know he gives me a great lots of good vibes. Like I don't know how he'll like react to it or whatever, because I already told my best friend about it. I already like wrote it like for what I wanted to say. Like this is what I want to hear you from the advice from you guys. Like I know it's hard.
Awesome. Awesome. I thank you, Queen, for sharing with us.
Anytime.
Because it's not easy to speak about our personal experiences. So I first want to thank you and congratulate you for taking the time to raise that hand and ask for help.
Yeah.
Montrella, Lonnie, do you want to take this one first?
Well, first thing, Sarah, I put my information in the chat, so please do call me. And so,
I will.
because this is very personal. And again, like Shanetta said, I do appreciate and commend you for, for sharing, because a lot of us are going through similar things, but if no one speaks up, then we think we're all alone. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is write the question, what are my lessons out of this relationship?
Yeah.
You may not have the answers right now, but just write the question down. And as the answers come, write them down. Because nothing was a mistake. And I know you made some critical choices and you probably had a different idea about, long-term, how this thing would shake out.
Yeah.
Unless you get the lessons, you repeat them. Is that helpful for you?
Yeah, like I wanted to ask and just be like, like when I told you about the situation, like do you think like he sounds respectful to me? Like when I told you about this, like he's like very caring guy, he's respectful. I know. Like I don't know how he'll react to.
That if he really genuinely cares about you, Sarah, he's going to respect you. It's interesting that you say that, because I was celibate for 5 years before I had sex with a gentleman that I thought was going to commit and didn't commit. And then I used to think about it, and I used to get upset because I wanted to be in a relationship, but I put myself in that position where I made myself physically available, knowing that he was not going to commit. And then when I flipped the script and was like, oh, well, no, you can't take me out. We don't do this, but you can come over my house and you want to get your penis sucked and you want me to open my leg. That's what you want to do. So I changed my mind and I put myself away. And was it uncomfortable? Yes. Did I miss? Yes. Did I miss the sexual experience? Yes. But was that sexual experience going to build me up or tear me down? And was the fact that for me, my situation was different because there was no real connection. So for you, you said that your friend is supportive and he's always there for you emotionally. So if he's genuinely a friend and he genuinely loves and cares for you as a person, then yes, he will genuinely respect that you're making a decision not to have sex. And when you're ready and make that decision to have sex, you'll move forward in that. But I believe that if he genuinely is for you, it will work out. But don't beat yourself up because you still care for him or have feelings, or you're grieving loss, or you're grieving the loss of the sex. Those are
yeah.
have. And those times, they build connections when we're sexually connected to other people. So soul ties.
Yeah, because I just felt like, like I know that he's like always emotionally being there for me, like during my hard times too. Like I appreciate it so much from him. Like I had some really like bad experiences like throughout my old like exes, like past exes. Like the one that I'm telling you about, he's caring, but the other exes weren't very nice because I was like possessive and like I let my past partners to talk to my friends who are girls like a bit as friends, like like to not have any dirty talks or anything like that. One of them was a cheater and I started having trust issues, and like I told my friends with benefits, like the partner, that I just want and just be like, like I'm not trying to be rude at all, just to tell you this, please don't go out with the other girls a lot too, because I do have emotional trauma where like for me, like if someone goes out with the other girl, like I wonder like what he's gonna do with the other girl or whatever, because like that's part of like learning, because that's why I'm like very aware of it too. And he said okay, like he respects my decision. Like I was just like telling him like straight up, and he already knows that I just don't like that. I'm not okay with it if he goes out with the other girls in a lot too, because I get jealous so much. Like it's just part of it, you know, like I just feel like, you know, like because since my first year of college, it was just pretty funny because like one of my guy friend, like he's like a very famous artist, like he's still now a YouTuber. I'm very proud of him for that. So in the couch area for my college in Canada, for my country, and in the couch, like, you know, like his guy friend and him, like his guy friend that I do know, one of his guy friend that I do know for a long time, like for 3 years for both of them. And, you know, like one of them, like one of the famous artist friend that I still do like keep in touch with. And he was just like basically saying, you know, like he was just making a joke, like who do like, you know, like just to have a crush on each other or something. But then for the first time I started having a crush, and then that guy friend started like a bit like running away from me or whatever, just stepping back. And then, you know, and then after like years, like he realized that okay, like I still have a crush on this girl. Like he still does have a compliment for me, like on my body image. Like I feel like, you know, it's I know it's hard, but you know, like
I'm going to
yeah.
recommend, Sarah, that that you definitely connect with Montrella. I think that Montrella would be a very good resource for you to help you and go more in depth in regard to the tools and the strength that you may need to get through this period. And then you're also welcome to email us. We are going to get ready to bring, I want to make sure before we close out, and I thank you again for sharing, please make sure that you get Montrella's information in the chat. And Montrella, if you could send that to Sarah directly also, that'll be awesome. And Sarah, thank you again. Are there any more questions that we could take for the evening?
Imani giving away the answers, but Imani guessed too, so she
Oh, I
definitely.
see. Okay. So we have to announce our winners. She's so cute with that.
You know what? I literally, in a moment, I totally forgot.
They got you. That was a setup. That's like going to the baby shower and be like, what's the word you can't say? Got you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at this chat. Let's give some gifts out. So who was the first that dropped it in there?
Imani did really well. She guessed 2 of them, so that.
Yep, Ivani.
Okay. So Ebony, that's Ebony. Okay, hey Ebony. Awesome. So
Hey
Ebony,
guys,
how are you? Thank you.
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. So Ebony, you have won the gifts for tonight. So we had a gift for the survival kit. So you will get your personalized gift. If you could, well, I know you, so I kind of know where you're at, so I can get you your gift.
Yes, thank you. Thank you
But
guys so much. This session was great.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us. If you could drop your information just to Montrella, just your
Okay,
last name and the address so we can get everything out to you, that'll be amazing.
awesome, sure will.
Thank you everybody for joining us again for Crown Check 1212, the holiday edition. Stay tuned because we're coming back. We're coming back January 3rd, live from Jamaica. Lonnie and I are flying out next week. Let's go. And Montrella gonna hold it down for us right here. She gonna make sure we come back and behave when we get back. So we are excited. We wish you all a happy holiday. We ask that you take care of yourself. And remember that no matter what season you're in, you have purpose. What else they have, ladies?
Oh, they have vision.
They have vision.
They're creative.
They're creative. And
Self-determination.
and you have self-determination. So those are just 3 of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. I think next year I'm going to celebrate Kwanzaa. I'm just going to do Kwanzaa all next year. I remember my grandmother, and I think my grandmother is with us here tonight. I do see my grandmother. Hey, Grandma. I remember my grandma used to make, she didn't make us, but she educated us on doing Kwanzaa.
Amen.
Y'all see my grandma waving. I'm gonna bring her to the
Awesome.
I'll get-
Oh, thank
I
you.
don't
Thank you.
not so often.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Grandma, we can't get down to Virginia to see you. I love you.
It's matter to us in this world. Thank you.
Love you, love you, love you. So everybody, thank you again for joining us. Please stay tuned for Crown Check 1212, live from Jamaica, Pity Party to Purpose. We're not going into 2021 at the same. Thank you so
Invite
much.
your friends and
Love
family.
you.
Very good program.
Thank
Very
you.
good program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, you have a great
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Happy
Safe travels,
Hanukkah.
ladies.